one is ABC data. And so what that stands for actually is antecedent behavior consequence. And so what that means is, in this table, I've typed it out what it means. What happened before the behavior, what was the behavior, and then what was that consequence. And so in my example here, I said that, great, on this date, I gave a direction, they yelled and stormed out of the room, and the parent reprimanded them. And using this kind of data can help us really look at figuring out why our children are engaging in those behaviors in the first place. And so if we can see, again, when I go back to the environment, this is part of the environment. What is maintaining that behavior? Why is this behavior still happening? So with this one too, I like to mention is, in this example, if yelling and after this, if yelling and storming out of the room continues and you're always reprimanding them, reprimanding might actually be a reinforcer for them. Because think about it this way, negative attention is still attention. Attention can also be, good, like positive or negative, can be good or bad. But a reprimand is attention. And then we go back to, one of the other tips that we talked about, which was praise. And yes, you're not going to praise them for yelling and storming out of the room, but you can praise them, at other times throughout the day when they are behaving how you see fit. And that will then decrease the likelihood, because they're getting that attention in all throughout the day for doing the things that, you have set up with them, that they'll do more of those and less of the yelling and the storming out of the room. So, yep, just remember, negative attention is just as reinforcing as positive attention. So even eye contact sometimes can be enough, actually. So yeah, ABC data really helps us just figure out why the behavior is happening. You might see, that the same thing happens before the behavior every single time. So then you might go and figure out, okay, how can I, change my approach to doing this so that they will behave how I want them to, and things like that. So ABC data is a little bit more of the intense, it's the most intensive data that I'm going to talk about tonight. But I wanted to make sure that, this type of recording was given to you so that you could, if this is something you're looking at, trying to figure out, you have some tools to do that. Also, we have frequency or count, just counting how many times a certain behavior happened during the day or, from after school until bedtime, things like that. Another form of this, it's not exactly frequency data, but I wanted to make sure to get this in there, is a token economy. So I just put a picture here of an example. You can make this, again, you make this for what works for you and your family. And so for this one, you can also get your child involved. You find out, you do your preference assessment. What do they want to work for? Okay, it's like, great. On this example, we have 20 stickers and they get to play Angry Birds for 10 minutes. So it's cleaning up, and how they can earn stickers is they clean up their toys, they ask for things by using nice words, and they play with their dog using gentle hands. So, and that's just setting up your environment as a parent to then be able to praise your child more and more and more as well, which then means we're going to see more and more and more of these behaviors in the future. And this was probably one of the best experiences I had during my time back in the clinical consulting realm. I was working with a family who had 2 foster sons, and I was in there helping them with some of their behaviors that they were experiencing. And it was so neat. We had been working together for probably about a month, and we had been talking about token economies, slowly working in little things at a time, so it wasn't this huge change for these boys. And one day I walked in, and not my mom, but the mom I was working with had this whole thermometer system set up on the refrigerator, one for each boy. She sat down with both of them, got a big list together of things that they either wanted or they wanted to do, activities, toys, games, any, she got a whole big list. And then she actually, she put them in tiers. She ranked them from lowest, like okay, you don't have to do too much to get like this toy, but you have to do a lot to get this toy. And then she made a point system for behaviors that she would like to see around the house, and more points for bigger things. And as the boys completed these, they got to fill up their thermometer, and it was so great. The boys got excited about it. I mean, it's not everything's perfect all of the time though. Like there's always setbacks in it, but it was really, really great. It took a lot of stress off the parents as well, because even if a negative behavior happened at one night, they were able to, the next morning they would restart again. And, when you did X, Y, or Z, you got your tablet back, you got your game console back. It wasn't, it took a lot less stress off the parents as well. So this is just one example, another example of some data you can take. And then also I want to throw out a couple more in there, because these are some issues that I see when I go work with families. One is duration, so how long a behavior is happening. And this one, whether it's tantrums or another big time I see it is when we're sleep training with our toddlers. And sleep training is a big one. So measuring duration can actually help you see if what you're doing is, decreasing that amount of time that they're, out of bed, or the amount of time that they're in bed. So just depending on which behavior you want to measure, the out of bed or the in bed. Another one is called latency. And so this one is actually just how long it takes us to start something. So if you ask your children to do homework, or you ask them to brush their teeth, from the time you ask that question until the time they start, that's latency. And sometimes parents ask me like, well, I just want them to do things faster. It's like they dilly-dally all around after I ask them to do it and don't just, go start doing what I asked. So measuring that time from when you asked to when they start is another thing, is another measurement. And it's another way that you can see if what you're doing is working as well, is if they're jumping right to it and following your directions. And so yeah, again, these two can be a little bit tougher, but they can be set up just like the frequency data can be set up as well. Just, a nice little table or a piece of paper and a pen, just writing it down.